I'm Sarah Shearer, also known as Imagine Landscapes. Happy December. I can't believe that this year is done. I've had a big year. I've moved. Well, I sold my first house because we bought a house, but I'd never sold a house before, and we moved, we painted everything, and we got 2 new pets, and lots has happened, and I feel just astonished that this is the last few days of the year are happening now. And this time of year is one of my favorite times of year because things seem to both speed up and slow down, and everyone's full of unconditional love, which is really what this time of year is about, is just appreciating people for the fact that they're around you. Just for being born, you get presents from Santa. So I wanted to talk a little bit about one of the things I do at this time of year, which is not right before Christmas, but sort of in the time afterwards. I try to read, and I've got some sort of like knitting reading list that I've got for myself here, and they've just arrived, and I'm really excited about these 3 books. The first book I want to talk about is Custom Socks. I am definitely not at all a trendsetter with this one. This one's been out for a while. It's by Kate Atherley, who is also known as the technical editor behind Knitty. That Knitty.com is a free online magazine. And Custom Socks, Knit to Fit Your Feet, has 15 patterns, plus explains how socks work and how you can make socks actually fit your feet, not just average feet. The way averages work, by the way, is they take a whole bunch of really interesting people and they smush them down with numbers until they're one very bland and uniform thing that doesn't actually reflect much of anyone. And so averages work well for some things, but if you're taking all the time to knit a pair of socks just for yourself, why shouldn't they fit you particularly? And both toe up, toe down, there's lots of tips and tricks. I'm just trying to find a picture here where we can show you. There's really clear illustrations. I am totally unsure with my camera how this is going to work. Anyways, the line drawings that help you with the tips section, I think are just brilliant. They are so clear and easy to understand. There's lots of things where she talks about different yarn weights, different techniques, and the patterns themselves are really just fabulous. There's this great one, O Valencia, which is orange and, well, it obviously doesn't have to be orange, but it's a lace weight sock, and there are color work socks. And because color work is different than lace, is different than ribbing, and Kate is unbelievably thorough, I am looking forward to reading through this and knowing more about socks. I knit a fair number of vanilla socks. I used to knit pattern socks, but I'd like to widen my design horizons and design my first pair of socks in 2019. So this book is something I'm hoping to enjoy over the latter half of December. I also ordered another book by Kate. Knit Mitts is easier to show you because it does not have a shiny cover. And Kate Atherley's Knit Mitts, your handy guide to knitting mittens and gloves. It is, again, all sorts of things about tips and how to line them with fabric, for instance. How to line them with other, I hope she does how to do them with knitted fabric, like a knitted lining, fabric lining, mitten harness, flip tops, how to add flip tops to things. Again, there are lots of patterns as well, so that you can take the tips and the ideas about customization in here, but then also apply them. This pair of colorwork mittens is just really wonderful because it's got a real linear aspect to it, and I am just all about colorwork that isn't too fussy. I love a strong architectural graphic look to colorwork, and this is just that pair of mittens really does it for me. That pair is called it's a French name, and I don't know that we want me pronouncing this. Guillemets. I will put links in the show notes. How about that? So that's Knit Mitts by Kate Atherley. I design a fair number of mittens, although this year I just designed my first pairs of full mittens. I designed 2 that are coming out in December. But before that, it was all top down, or fingerless. That's the word I'm looking for. The third book is a big, meaty one, and may just blow my mind right open and just explode it with all the details. But it's Amy Herzog's Ultimate Sweater Book. And this tagline here on the back says, or on the front too, but I'll read it off the back because that makes it a little easier now, doesn't it? The essential reference for knitting sweaters from scratch. There are pattern recipes, or my understanding is that the recipes in here are the recipes. The patterns in here are all sort of basic ideas, but with lots of instructions about how to customize. And the first, it goes through, I'm just going to open up the table of contents because I think a little bit of a discussion about that might to show you just how incredibly meaty this book is and useful. So the basics cover like measurements and ease, drop shoulder sweaters, raglan sweaters, yoke sweaters, and set-in sleeve sweaters. Then it talks about making sweater adjustments, both in terms of how to look at and approach traditional patterns, adjusting the sweater body, the sleeve, the neck. Then there's embellishments, things like the yarns and fibers and stitch patterns that you can add or changing edging, design goodies like cardigan closures and pockets and necklines. And then part 4 is the garments, all of which you can use to put her ideas into play. Amy Herzog is, in my mind, one of the best sweater designers we've got right now. She seems to understand especially female bodies in a way that is really profound. Her custom fit books and her approach to making sure that women of all sizes and of all shapes figure out how to make sweaters that not just make them feel proud that they finished them, but incredibly proud and confident and comfortable wearing all the time, that you prefer them to your store-bought sweaters. So there are some parts of this that are super meaty and super just detailed sort of charts and mathy bits, but she does a lot of the math for you. If you are not somebody looking to get the math out of this, you don't have to. You can definitely sort of follow along. I've skimmed this. So she's done a little bit of a good job in terms of like, you can do this and you'll be happy. Or if you want to know more, sort of like stop and pause here. It's, as ever, she's incredibly thorough. She wants you to know everything you need to know. And that's one of the things her books are just incredible at. So before you ask, I should say this sweater is store-bought. I bought 6 sweaters over Black Friday sales. And it's funny, I felt a little bit like a heretic as a knitter buying sweaters, but I don't necessarily have time to knit all the sweaters I want, and I was cold, and a bunch of the sweaters I have are looking really worn, and both the store-bought and the ones that I've knit for myself, they just look like they don't fit my body the way I want sweaters to fit right now, or they're looking kind of, well, not gross, but they're looking really worn and tired, or whatever. And I just gave myself the freedom this time to just not feel guilt about not having an entirely hand knit sweater collection. That might be a bucket list kind of goal for me, but right now I want to be happy with my hobby today and happy with my wardrobe. So this sweater was from Ricky's, which is a Canadian store. I don't know if it is in other countries, but I got 6 sweaters at Ricky's the other day and I am really pleased with them. So thanks for liking and commenting. I'd love to know if you are also planning on reading anything over Christmas or your holiday break. If you've got knitting books or other books that you are about to be reading, I'd love to hear about them. So please drop a comment down below. Bye.